take the wheel. Hey everybody, Carrie says, Jesus, Jesus take the wheel. And you know what? She's not wrong. So we're gonna go with that. Yeah. All right, we're gonna share this. Like Facebook's talking to me already. We got stuff going on. Share this with a friend? Sure. I don't know what friend we're sharing with. We don't really know what's happening. The algorithms keep changing. People are like, I don't see your videos anymore. Where are they? I'm like, Facebook has a mind of its own. Not really. An agenda of its own, possibly. Now the video is going to be taken down because I said that. Anyway, hey. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Adam. So tonight...
You're funny today.
I'm funny today because I'm losing whatever mind left is going really quickly. It's just diminishing at a rapid speed. Hey, it's Renee and Danielle. I love this. See, I used to be able to wave to them, and now I don't know how to wave because it's gone. They're just like, bring them on camera. I'll just bring you all on camera. We'll see what happens. All right, Renee's going to be on Zoom hopefully soon. At least I'm getting my messages, I think. So last week, in case you were worried, I did not post any homework. I know you were worried about this. I know there was a concern, a deep concern happening. But I was just having my own stuff go on in my life, and I didn't get to do it. I thought about it a lot, and I was like, you know what? What's the big deal if I don't post the homework, right? Because the truth is, we're going to talk about it anyway. And I'll probably just end up posting more this week. Whatever it is, it is. But I know Kristen specifically, who is not here currently, was probably very, very worried about where's the homework. You know, when somebody who's consistent like myself, she probably did call Carrie about it. I got that was a joke, by the way, so I should get a star. You know, I'm usually very consistent with my stuff, and then sometimes I have to allow things to just happen or not happen. Yeah, Renee says she was very worried. You should be. If I don't do as I say I'm going to do, you should be concerned that something's going on. But I just couldn't get it. It wasn't going to happen, so I stopped fighting it. I just let it go. So this week, now we were going to go on to, hey Lori, we were going to move on to the beginning parts of what ego means in the spiritual realm. However, I don't feel ready to do that. So we're going to do something different. And Carrie told me about 30 seconds before I logged on that we should discuss self-care. And I said, you know what? That is a great idea. You know why? Because I spent all day in my office treating back to back, no breaks, literally. And there's a reason for that, because my clients really, 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 really needed some self-care, and that was like the major discussion on the table today was like just the complete lack of balance of everybody's lives. Complete lack of balance. I have very, very caring clients. They're just like me. They care for their families, their friends, and they also enrapture their identity. This does go with self-care. Their identity with their people around them. Like, you know, we're really consumed sometimes. Yeah, that's really the word for it. We're really consumed with others' well-being, with others' lives. Carrie. And it ends up, it ends up having an effect on us that is beyond our role, really. You know, it is an awesome role for us to be caregivers, an awesome role for us to be healers, an awesome role for us to be friends, family, like in that really ultimate sense of what those mean. But it also is the most valuable for us to be in a good spot, right? In a good place, in a place where we are not consumed, where we are able to give freely and not be harmed by that giving. So I'm talking to myself, I'm talking to Carrie, I'm talking to all of you, because I know we're not alone on this. And at times when we speak about, especially that identity role, if you got to do your mind map at one point, I know caregiver was big time on there for me. And that caregiver role can be amazing or it can be disastrous. And even if you didn't necessarily have that role for you, I'm sure that the people logged on are with me on this healer portion that can go way out of balance and very, very quickly. And we need to talk about this because at the core of your, not only your identity, but your narrative, your life story, your history is something like this repeat lesson over and over again of how to care for somebody else, which basically equates on how to care for yourself ultimately too. So I usually will say to somebody, and Carrie loves this, I know she loves this, Carrie, what would you tell me if it was me? What would you say to a friend in this situation? What would you, like, it's just a role reversal. And it annoys us because it's like, well, that's not what I want to hear. I don't want to hear you tell me my own advice. I don't want to hear you whatever. But the truth is, it's basically a reflection tool. Because if it was, one of my best friends saying, well, this guy said this and then he did this, didn't really balance out, or he, treated me like this. Well, what would you say if it was me? And usually the answer is pretty easy. It's not as complex as we think. This happens as well with work. I could look at my day very easily and say, wow, that work day wasn't balanced. I was back to back. I didn't give myself enough time. Actually, I did give myself a bit of time. But what happened is there was a rally going on and people were late and time was spilling over, so it just happened that way. I did at least have a shake prepared, so I knew that if I couldn't get the regular food, I still had something happening. I cut corners in other aspects so that I could still be okay, and I wanted to make sure that I got here on time. So while not as balanced as I would like in the sense of, well, I didn't get time to rest, I didn't get time to do whatever, I still felt complete with the day. But that's not even one of the more important examples. It would be for me more of my role as a caregiver, as a mom, would be more chaotic, and that type of energy is more depleting rather than this very focused and organized sense. So my days with the kids are actually much more difficult for me in a sense of energetic balancing. And that's where this type of awareness comes in. So if you're a person that will give your pinky finger just to make somebody else feel better or whatever it is, ever giving of your time, your energy, it's great, and then it's going to also be a wreck. So what do we do? And let's kind of start with these warning signs of what happens. How do we know if this is actually occurring? Hey, Kristen, you snuck in somehow, or you're in the car. Okay, very good.
Driving.
She's driving, oh boy. So Carrie, since you're the only one talking right now, tell me some warning signs, not maybe warning, red flags that pop up when you're completely out of balance with stuff, or just out of balance. Not sleeping well. This is a great example. Anything else?
Not eating well.
Not eating well. What could not eating well? Hold on, let's go back to the not eating well. Not eating well can mean a few things. So, could be eating like a child. I'm just joking. Chicken nuggets, Dunkaroos, all that stuff, but that's okay. Food is food, right?
Kraft mac and cheese.
Kraft mac and cheese. We go to the comfort foods. We got Doritos. What else we got over there? Right.
Ew, Doritos.
Oh, Doritos. I gave her an idea. Great. So.
No, I said yucca.
Oh, yuck. Okay. See, I would love Doritos, except they would give me nightmares from the MSG, so we're not going to go there.
Cheese doodles on the other hand.
Cheese doodles on the other hand. Brilliant. Let me just get to my gallery view. Okay.
An adult meal today.
You had an adult meal today. That's awesome. So not eating well could also be not eating, right? Not eating enough. Not eating enough. Not eating in a timely manner. Eating too much at certain times, stuff like that, right? Food aversions. There's many ways that it could just be a sign. Like if you're normally a person who's pretty food oriented or just knows how to balance your meals, and then suddenly you're like letting things go, that's a sign. Danielle says being short-tempered. Oh yeah, being short-tempered, and being short-tempered specifically with people that you would normally be more caring with, right? So particularly with the kids, you want to be a certain way, a sweet mommy, so patient, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly you just don't have it in you to, you know, be that way. And it's painful for everyone. Obviously you can see this in other areas too, where maybe you're not such a crazy driver or angry driver or whatever. And then suddenly you just are like, blah, you know, and words are coming out that you haven't heard in a long time other than in crazy movies. So that happens too. Yeah, Danielle said more so than normal with the short-tempered. Absolutely. It's the timing of everything, you know, when you're feeling the world too, it's definitely not an excuse. It's more of an awareness, understanding that, yeah, you're affected and you're part of it. And that's why we're going to talk more about self-care. So anybody else? What are the other signs?
Not wanting to do things that you normally do.
Oh, this is a really good one. Not wanting to do things that you normally do. It's the same thing as like lack of appetite. It would be lack of appetite with the entire world around you. You know, that's the lack of motivation starts to come in with, you know, some depression, being overwhelmed. You know, everything kind of goes hand in hand, and suddenly you're immobile, not wanting to do things you normally like to do too. Yeah, just not enough energy for it in that sense. Anything else that we can think of real fast? How about not wanting to talk to people? That's a good one, right? Suddenly, you know, isolating. Yeah, normally I'm so, you know, social and I want to talk to people, and suddenly I find myself declining phone calls, avoiding texts, putting the phone down. Not necessarily putting away, just putting it down. Being like, right? So you can see all that type of spillage happening. Something that you would normally find calming starts to become irritating. You ever have that, especially with like someone you're close with, or even in meditation, it sounds somehow difficult after a while because you just don't have the space to be calm, you know, or you don't feel like you have it available to yourself. How about sleeping more? Right? Start to abuse that bed a little bit, where you're just like, you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to sleep and detach from everything. I know some people that are actually like that quite a bit, where they just can't get themselves up, or they stay on the couch and they're just not moving. So these are just a few. I'm sure we can think of more, and maybe that will be the questions. Okay, for those signals, those red flags. Okay, so the follow-up question for that. What's the first thing you can do? Like, what's just one thing you can do when you start to realize that you have more than one of these things happening for you? What's up? What about you ladies? Okay, I don't hear anything right now, so I'm going to go with this.
Schedule a day.
Schedule a day? That's what I heard.
I said I try to time off from work.
Yeah. Time off of work. So scheduling a day for yourself, right? And this could look like a lot of things, right? This could look like a lot of things, where sometimes it would be, hold on. Sometimes it could be a full day off of work, but even parts of the day need to be more in balance. So scheduled day off from work is actually like more of the later, if there's a big buildup happening. And I sincerely believe everybody should schedule days off. However, throughout your day, if you're working, you still need some moments to yourself, for sure, right? Hey, Eileen, happy belated. You still need time for yourself in some way. So carving out time for yourself throughout the day, it's not going to be the same as if you have the whole day off, right? But you have to start finding where your issues are too. So I'm going to go with adjusting is going to be second, and we're going to start with just figuring out what's actually happening. So Carrie, can you give me a wonderful example in your workday where an issue might occur? What would throw you out of balance?
When I don't schedule any time in between patients.
Yeah, so not scheduling time in between patients. And I could be like this too. Could be a big problem, right? Huge problem. Dealing with people all day, helping them all day, listening to them all day, holding that space for them all day, and then not having enough time in between. So if it's not something, even if it is something apparent, I should say, this is where the writing down is a really, really big deal. Hey, Vin. You want to know what's actually throwing you out of balance. So now we have these warning signs, and then we have to know what's going out. So paper and pen all the time. Big, big deal. You can do the mind mapping, you know, center it, like out of balance, just write out of balance, and then start writing. Not enough time between clients, blah, blah, blah. And you start listing off, and you're going to start to see that there's a pattern going on. And usually it's not enough time doing blah, blah, blah. But you're going to figure out on that mind map where you can start adjusting, and then you start to pick from it. You're like, okay, I have this big problem. I have a lot of clients. I feel like they really need me. I need to prioritize where that time is going. But even if you're going to still have the same amount of your workday going on, you still need to get 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here. And how are you going to do that? Well, your bathroom breaks are probably longer than 5 minutes, correct? Right? Your coffee breaks, your water breaks, going outside, maybe you smoke, whatever it is generally longer than 5 minutes anyway. So you need to choose where to put them in and the quality of them. So instead of just a bathroom break, you have a bathroom break, either look outside of a window or you close your eyes for a minute and all you do is focus on a breathing technique that you've chosen, or a color that you've chosen, or thinking of your favorite place for a full minute. Whatever that is, it has to be etched in to the day. And it needs to be actually scheduled for a while until it's routinized. That is one of the simplest things you can do. So we're going to do a mind map this week for self-care issues. Okay. And where are we on time? 9:22. So other than that, we'll pause there for this week. How is everybody doing? How was your week? Yeah, a mess. Tough. Did anybody notice like a certain day this week that it was a little bit more emotional than others? For me, it was Thursday. I would say like Wednesday, Thursday. Anybody else notice a day that was like, wow, that was interesting? Friday for you? Okay. Yeah, sometimes you'll hear us say like the days and they'll start to really collide with each other. So Thursday was me, and my friend Jess called and said the same thing. She was like, I was crying all day Thursday. Something happened in her life, but it was the same day as mine. So that's another interesting thing. Like, you know, I always understand that we're all in our own personal worlds, but when you start to see even the emotional ups and downs, they will tend to be around the same time, which is always fun, right? Not so much. No. Okay. Let's go into your intentions for meditation tonight. So if we're talking about self-care, right? What's another way to nurture yourself in a meditation? So I always bring the colors in, right? The colors are representative of the chakras. The colors help, they help fortify, they help nourish each chakra, and they also help mind direct, to direct that focus, that intention. During your meditation, you know, in a yoga class or any meditation class, they'll talk about intention first, because that's how important it is to just direct. Tonight's meditation, since we're talking about self-care, like, let's think of one way we can nourish, and then I'm going to put it into the meditation. So in a way, you're going to help me build the meditation tonight. So Danielle, if you're still there, why don't you type something for me? Hopefully I'll see it. About what you want to focus on nourishing. Kristen, congratulations on getting home safely. Thank you for joining us. Water, she's drinking her water. We always put the water in there. Carrie, anything you want in meditation?
I want to fly again, but help my body get ready to sleep.
Okay, so we got flying and we got sleeping.
And now I can't. All right.
Oh no?
Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. You gotta go? Okay. All right.
Sylvia.
Oh. Okay. Forgiveness for yourself for your shortcomings. Oh, wow, Danielle, that's a heavy-duty one. Okay, so that has everything to do with your identity as well, your self-care, your self-worth. Yeah, that's a big one. So forgiveness, we can do that. We're going to work on that. Anybody else have anything they want me to put into the meditation?
Saying no to things.
Okay, so we got some boundaries and forgiveness. I like this. You guys are going to build the meditation. Cool. Okay. So wherever you are, you're going to start closing down lights, your body, your brain. I hope you enjoyed my fresh look today. It's called I Just Showered and Ran on Camera just for you. Okay. So get that breath ready. Remember last week we spoke about self-esteem versus self-worth, and how self-esteem was really externally factored. You know, oh, I did a good job painting that. Somebody told me I did a great job, so I did a great job. Versus self-worth, just understanding that you are worthy of things, that you are worthwhile no matter what, you still have value. So when you work on your self-care is very anchored into those two things, very anchored into that. A lot of times, part of you is still thinking that you're maybe not worth that type of time. You know, I always talk about mom guilt, like if I'm away for too long, I feel, if I'm not being as attending to the children or my family, there's a lot of my identity and my even my self-esteem anchored into that feeling of it. So that's where we're going to go into this caring, this forgiveness exercise. So begin being conscious of the flow of breath, as always. And I think there's a tendency to judge if your breath is good enough even. I've heard a lot of people say, I can't do that, I can't breathe like that, I can't relax, I can't keep my mind in one place. And you know what? That's great that you are aware that you have a difficulty. You're great that you're aware that, you know, that feels harder for you. But it doesn't mean that it's finite that way, or it doesn't mean that meditation isn't working. It's always working. It works because you're showing up to it, because you continue to choose to come back to it, because it's a practice. And that's what it's about. So, as I was treating today, you know, we had this major talk over and over again with all my clients today about this balance in their lives, and about not being consumed with other people's stories, but helping them along in a very healthy sense, meaning that you have boundaries. And we will go into that too, knowing when to create a boundary, knowing when to call it. Your story is your story. You know, Kristen can't experience my story, just like I can't experience hers the same way. So if I own hers and nobody's watching out for mine, then my life becomes not mine. And that would be very sad, because she wouldn't have the ability to experience her life in the full capacity, because I would actually be hurting her, injuring her, and I wouldn't be able to experience my life. It would be like a lost life. So we have these roles to play with each other, and it's really important that we be able to hold space for our own lives, and that's where the self-care starts to happen. So understanding not just that we have to take days off, but that we have to take moments out or moments in for ourselves, just like we try to give children a time in, some, you know, let me hold you, let me hug you, let me tell you that it's okay, and give you boundaries at the same time. So where do we do that for ourselves? If I go out of my way to teach my children, to teach others how self-care is so important, and I'm here having such an unbalanced experience, well, it's just not going to be able to stay that way. Nothing out of balance is able to be maintained. And when I say balance, remember, that's always a moving balance. There is no equal playing field. Yin yang is a flow, like a wave, and that's how our life always will be. Not dynamic, so a dynamic life. So we allow one focal point to begin. And even using your finger, you can draw a line right above the brow from the crown, through the center line, down the tip of the nose to the mouth, the throat, the heart, down the sternum, break in the ribs, belly, navel, groin, thighs, knees, calves, ankle, toes, earth. And as you give that indication, this delineation of energy, this direction, all the way down, allowing the breath to go all the way down, watching it, moving with it. So using my hand to capture that intention. And immediately I do feel it. So if you're new or you're having a tougher time feeling the energy or the breath moving, you should use your hand. You should try it, experiment with it, see what it feels like. And when you get more into it, you might actually feel a bit of your energy field. It can feel like warm vibration, a little fuzzy sometimes. You'll start to feel the qualities of it. The more you stroke it, it will start to feel a lot smoother. You might even feel some cool spots, but everything will start to even out as you do this. And then if you feel any points across your body, maybe in organs or anything like that, that feel a little more stagnant, a little more energy around that area, without judging it, don't let your mind wander into scary parts. Just let it be energy. And you can start to cultivate this breath, this flow. And then as you give it some love, you'll be able to move it and manipulate that chi downwards toward the ground. And you're doing a beautiful job. So taking note of any heat in your hands, across the body, any warmth coming to you, or anything for that matter. Sometimes you'll feel some cool air. So if as we were talking, you immediately began to think of areas in your life that were more consuming, more out of balance per se, you're going to take that one area that came up for you immediately, that one area, and you're going to picture it as if it was drawn like an illustration of a book or a painting. And it could look very straightforward. It could look like, too many people. It could look like a bunch of things, or it could be more symbolic. Maybe you see just a bunch of mishmash colors, or, you know, clocks ticking, or whatever it is. But just let that beautiful brain of yours illustrate this situation. Allow no detail to go unturned. Let it all be there. You know, if you think of some of the most famous painters and artists, especially the more eccentric ones like Dali and things like that, so you might start to understand where some of that came from. You know, inspired by the world for sure, but also allowing that channeling of this internal chaos, this internal creativity that it's not normally spoke about necessarily. This is all the deep stuff, just letting it get out onto a canvas. So we'll use that canvas for our mind's eye tonight. So once you have that whole situation that came up for you, I want you to take a few more deep breaths. Feel everything go back down towards the feet. And you're gonna give a full-on intention expansion to this painting, to this situation. So in your mind's eye, you'll take your awesome hands, and you're gonna see yourself standing right in front of the painting, the portrait, or maybe it was watercolor, whatever it is, you know, colored pencils, it doesn't matter, in front of this portrait. And really watch yourself as you put your palms in front of it. As if you had a key, you're going to open each palm until you feel like they're fully open. Now, with every inhale and exhale, you're going to see a light, a white light come from your palms to the scene. And what happens during this, you might start to move your hands subtly as you start to feel the connection from the energy of the hands to the picture. And now you're going to begin to shift the energy. So the painting, the portrait, picture, whatever, will start to shift, start to change. Maybe you'll see some colors moving around. The ending doesn't matter right now. You're just going to manipulate it because we know your intention is to heal this situation, right? It's to move things. So watch yourself as you just start to change this pattern that is not serving you. So you're gonna hold the energy, the space here for this first scene. You're gonna put a translucent bubble around the whole picture. Really put that energy there as if you're wrapping it in this beautiful, almost clear bubble. Then you're gonna be able to move over to another canvas. And on this canvas, it's going to be quite different. You're going to write, paint, however you want, your name, and then all the happy words that you want to be coming from the healing of the situation. So if we're focusing on balance, let's think of that first. How would it feel to be balanced, to feel that dynamic balance in your life? What would it feel like? You know, and if you have a moment or a time in your life where you really felt like you had a good energy distribution going on, try to go back to that moment. I'm saying moment because it's really fleeting, but that feeling of, wow, I feel like I fed myself well. I feel like I did some great physical activity. I put in good work today. I took care of the house, my home. I took care of an animal, a person, and I took care of my social relations. If you start to check off each part of that, and you'll have this completeness feeling, you know, and that's real peace. It's real love. And it doesn't always matter what the outcome is. It's more of a, I put effort into all these places, and I really feel like I achieved a smooth balance. And what does that feel like? Write those words down. What a wonderful thing you're doing for yourself right now, giving the space to feel and experience. What a calm and peaceful thing. So now you're going to shift this energy back to the first place that you were holding in our beautiful bubble. And you're going to float up with the bubble. Allow yourself to become weightless. And this scene will come along with you with such ease. Feel the lightness happening. And you're going to gently string this beautiful bubble picture all along with you. And you're going to take it wherever you want to go. Where do you want to go? When the heart is troubled, when the heart feels unattended to, issues come up that seem, or make you feel a little bit more powerless. So we're going to give love to that area. We're going to give love to yourself. So take this beautiful bubble with you and go to the place that comes to mind that makes you feel good. Like, I just want to be here. And as you allow yourself to arrive there, take a really, really deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to basically exhale white light all the way around everywhere you go. It's going to be like a shimmery shower going on, just coming from you. Exhaling this beautiful power. And now it's time to work on this situation again. Now it's time to find that place and start to shift into what it could look like. You may notice that your portrait may not be clear, may be more of colors, and may be more exploratory. Because you don't always have the direct answer, but we know the feeling, the intent that you do want, right? So as that happens, there is a sense of forgiveness that needs to occur as you do this. You know, because there's going to be times that it will be more difficult to attain. There will be times where it feels like you're just not getting it right. So self-forgiveness has more to do with forgiveness of each situation. So as you draw this painting, this portrait over again, you're going to include a very good amount of love. And when you work on love, let me just restart this. It looks like more of those shimmery sparkles again. It looks like light pink and vivid colors coming all into one. Love has this softness to it. So every breath that you take now, as you add it to your imagery, you're going to remember, I'm using my energy now to create something more loving. You don't have to know what that picture looks like yet. You just need to know that the feeling is behind it. So this will speak as well to any situation in your life where maybe you feel like I didn't give the love that I wanted to give. I didn't react or act the way that I wanted to. So we focus on that feeling behind it. Even if you don't know the answer, that feeling of a soft love, very soft. You're going to take the imagery that you created for this situation, whichever this one is that you were focusing on, and you're going to flip it around and shine it directly to the sun. Imagine yourself holding it up like Simba in The Lion King, holding it up to the sun and showing, this is the feeling that I want. This is the imagery, a place of peace, place of balance. This is what I am wanting. And feel what it's like giving yourself this time, this amazing gift of just staying present with yourself and communing with others. Even though it's virtual, you're still all with me and I'm with you. Feeling and experiencing what it's like to share this type of vibration. This softness and yet amazing, peaceful movement together. So as you allow that imagery to become focused right into that third eye area, allow the pineal gland to respond to the sun that you were seeing. Allow the throat chakra open to the sound of relief, allowing everything to happen. Communication to flow. Authenticity to come. if you're feeling like you want to go fly again, take a few breaths and allow your body to go soaring. See if you can play with the speed as your breath stays steady, the height. Maybe you remember dreams of flying, probably more when you were a child, but you can always go back there. Everything you focus on, that you're choosing to focus on right now, even if the mind is floating off, just give it another breath and come back. Because everything you're allowing to happen, allowing to focus on, it's going to serve you, because your intention is so strong of that soft love. Remember that. That's feeling of soft, peaceful love. I don't know how the rest of your day was, or the details of the weeks or days or anything before. I know that you're here now, and I know that you're trying. And every time you show up, every time you pause for a few moments to focus, and you purposely gather yourself and your thoughts and your energy, every time you do that, that's a practice. And it's a really important practice. And as always, thank you for doing that for yourself, and in turn for others. And remember, when we say namaste, we're not just saying it to honor somebody else for respect. We're saying it to acknowledge that when we're in that place, and what that place is, it's a place of divinity, a place of light and love. Meaning, when your intentions are strong, when your intentions are focused upon, that brings us into a place of divinity, because our intentions are to do so. And when you do that, when you are in that place, and I am also in that place, that's when we are really one. It's easy to say that we're always one, and I do believe that's true. But to feel one, to feel connected, that takes some effort. And the effort doesn't have to be hard. The effort is actually really easy when we choose over and over again to give ourselves to that, when we choose over and over again to choose that type of love. So if you find yourself being angry more, if you find yourself being upset more, remember the practice. And as soon as you're able to get yourself to a place where you can reach out to another person, to a place that you can be outside and reach out to nature, and also obviously to God, when you can do that, you do it as fast as you can. Always the next breath. Don't pretend that things are okay when they're not. Don't pretend to be in balance when you're not. Authenticity goes into self-care. Be authentic. Watch your breath. Don't pretend. Come back to the intention. Intend. Okay? So we're going to continue with this type of theme, this further checking in of where we are with our self-care on a continuous basis, continuous day to day. As we continue to move into coming into that ego and understanding how we get to these places. I am so happy that no matter what, we're here together, okay? So with my deepest love, I do this for all of you, and I feel you back, I really do. So I'm gonna start another little chat video just so we can separate it tonight. But check in. I will post homework this week, this time, I promise. And it's more than forgiveness to yourself. It's accepting that you aren't always a certain way. And then continually trying to do that growth. You know, that's really what it's about. You have to keep trying because it's a practice, okay? So thank you for joining in on this practice, and I'd like to hear more about your other personal practices and what you do to help nourish yourself so that we can share in our community, okay? I love you all, and Jai.